At 89, Robert Redford finally speaks out about Paul Newman. Born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California, he grew up in a modest household that quietly shaped his creative path. His mother, Martha Hart, a freelance illustrator and commercial artist, encouraged his appreciation for beauty, art, and imagination. His father, Charles Robert Redford Sr., worked as a chemist and lab technician, grounding the young dreamer with a sense of discipline and balance. Growing up in Southern California, Robert was immersed in a region alive with vibrant culture, framed by the allure and mystique of nearby Hollywood, an atmosphere that planted the earliest seeds for his eventual life in film. As a boy, Redford pursued education and creativity with equal energy. At Van Nuys High School, he discovered drama and performance, acting in school plays while exploring different forms of artistic expression. After graduation, he enrolled at the University of Colorado, initially studying architecture, a reflection of his wide-ranging curiosity. Yet his passion for the arts pulled him in another direction. He abandoned architecture to pursue acting, studying formally at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. There, surrounded by mentors and peers who recognized his natural gifts, he honed his craft with discipline and purpose. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, Redford's acting career began to take shape with appearances on television and in smaller, film roles. But it was the late 1960s and 1970s that transformed him into a Hollywood icon. His breakout role in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, opposite Paul Newman, electrified audiences. Redford's Sundance Kid, charismatic yet introspective, rebellious yet magnetic, struck a cultural chord and helped redefine the archetype of the American hero. He followed with The Sting, 1973, All the President's Men, 1976, and Out of Africa, 1985, each role expanding his range and reputation. Whether in dramas, thrillers, or sweeping romances, Redford displayed an ability to inhabit complex, multi-dimensional characters with sophistication and depth. But Redford was never just an actor. In 1980, he founded the Sundance Institute, dedicated to supporting independent filmmakers and championing creative freedom. From it grew the Sundance Film Festival, now the world's premier stage for independent cinema. His commitment to giving new voices a platform transformed American filmmaking, launching countless careers and reshaping the industry. Around the same time, he directed Ordinary People, 1980, a moving family drama that won the Academy Award for Best Picture and earned him a Best Director nomination. This moment proved Redford was not only a star, but a storyteller and visionary. The mid-1980s marked another creative peak. He starred in The Natural, 1984, embodying Roy Hobbs, a baseball player whose mythic blend of talent and fragility captivated audiences. A year later, Out of Africa placed him in one of the great sweeping romances of the decade. Yet he was increasingly drawn to directing, making The Milagro Beanfield War, 1988, an adaptation of John Nichols's novel that mixed art with social commentary. This interest in deeper narratives blossomed with A River Runs Through It, 1992, a lyrical, family drama that used nature, grief, and brotherhood as its canvas. His sensitivity as a director earned widespread praise and reaffirmed his artistry beyond the screen. In 1994, he turned to history with Quiz Show, exploring the 1950s television scandals that exposed corruption and deception. The film combined moral complexity with precise storytelling, showcasing his skill at balancing history with drama. By the late 1990s, he was mastering both worlds, directing and acting with equal power. In The Horse Whisperer, 1998, he played a man helping heal a young girl and her horse, directing himself with restraint while capturing the healing beauty of the American West. Redford carried this momentum into the 2000s. He starred in Lions for Lambs, 2007, a political drama exploring responsibility and truth in an era of media and war. In 2011, he returned to the director's chair for The Conspirator, focused on Mary Surratt and the aftermath of Lincoln's assassination, again engaging his lifelong fascination with moral and historical dilemmas. A year later, he merged directing and acting once more in The Company You Keep, 2012, where he starred alongside Shia LaBeouf in a story about activism, secrecy, and personal accountability. Even after decades in Hollywood, Robert Redford proved himself to be not just enduring, but still evolving, still willing to take risks and redefine what it meant to be an artist. On August 9, 1958, Robert Redford married Lola Van Wagenen in a private ceremony held in Las Vegas, Nevada. This marked the beginning of a long and complex personal partnership that would span decades. Choosing Las Vegas reflected both their desire for privacy and the convenience of the city's wedding facilities, which were already well known in the 1950s for efficiency and discretion. To include family and friends in a more traditional celebration, the couple held a second reception at the home of Lola's grandmother on September 12th of the same year, giving their loved ones a chance to share in the occasion and create cherished memories. Together, Redford and Van Wagenen had 4 children, each with a distinct life story and connection to their father. Their first child, Scott Anthony Redford, was born on September 1, 1959, but tragically died just 2.5 months later on November 17, 1959, from sudden infant death syndrome. He was laid to rest at Provo City Cemetery in Provo, Utah, leaving behind an enduring sense of grief and tenderness in his parents' lives. Their second child, Shauna Jean Redford, was born on November 15, 1960, and grew into a talented painter, showing a creative instinct that echoed her father's artistic sensibilities. Shauna later married journalist and author Eric Schlosser, forming a partnership rooted in cultural and intellectual engagement. Their third child, David James Redford, born on May 5, 1962, pursued a career in writing and film production. Following in his father's footsteps, he worked behind the camera, contributing his own creative voice to the world of storytelling. Sadly, James passed away on October 16, 2020, leaving behind a legacy of artistic dedication. Their youngest child, Amy Hart Redford, born on October 22, 1970, built a multifaceted career in the entertainment industry as an actress, director, and producer, further extending the Redford family's influence in film and theater. The couple also became grandparents to 7 grandchildren, who represent both the continuation of the family line and Robert Redford's personal and creative legacy. Although Redford and Van Wagenen remained connected through their children and shared experiences, their romantic relationship gradually unraveled over time. They never publicly confirmed a formal separation or divorce, choosing to keep the matter private. Yet, in 1982, entertainment columnist Shirley Eder reported that the couple had been living apart for years, suggesting the marriage had effectively ended, even if not legally finalized. Nearly a decade later, Parade magazine highlighted the same uncertainty, noting in 1991 that it is unclear whether the divorce has been finalized, underscoring the couple's ongoing discretion, despite Redford's public prominence. On July 11, 2009, Robert Redford entered a new chapter when he married his longtime girlfriend, Sibylle Zagars, at the prestigious Louis C. Jacob Hotel in Hamburg, Germany. An accomplished artist in her own right, Zagars had moved in with Redford in 1996, sharing his home in Sundance, Utah, and becoming a vital part of his personal and creative life. Their marriage reflected a mature partnership grounded in mutual respect, shared artistic interests, and a deep understanding shaped by decades of experience and past relationships. Formed later in Redford's life, this union emphasized his enduring search for companionship, love, and stability, while also reminding the world of the human side of his legendary persona as an actor, director, and philanthropist. At the age of 89, Robert Redford, one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, finally spoke openly about his decades-long friendship and professional partnership with Paul Newman. His reflections offered a rare glimpse into the depth of their bond, which reached far beyond the screen. Speaking candidly, Redford described Paul as the kind of person who made everyone around him better. He recalled Newman's effortless charisma and humility, and noted how even at the peak of fame, Newman never let success cloud his humanity or generosity. Redford's words conveyed not only admiration but also a deep affection for a friend who was, in his eyes, more like a brother. Reflecting on their professional collaborations, Redford described an unspoken understanding on set, where mutual respect allowed them to push each other creatively while maintaining a light-hearted camaraderie. He reminisced about hours spent discussing character motivations, improvising scenes, and challenging each other to elevate their performances, not for accolades, but for the love of craft itself. This synergy, he explained, was the key to their collaborations being both commercially successful and critically revered. Beyond the work, Redford acknowledged the personal impact Newman had on his life. Newman provided support, counsel, and quiet encouragement throughout their decades-long friendship, forming a bond of companionship, mentorship, and mutual understanding that transcended ordinary connections. Finally, Redford expressed gratitude and nostalgia, emphasizing how Newman's influence extended well beyond their own lives and careers. Paul taught me that success is measured by kindness, integrity, and the impact you have on people, he said, underscoring how Newman's legacy is as deeply human as it is cinematic. By sharing these reflections so late in life, Redford offered fans, historians, and fellow actors a treasured insight into one of Hollywood's greatest partnerships, an enduring testimony to friendship, artistry, and mutual respect that continues to resonate decades after their first shared frame.